Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts One Piece Premium Bandai, unfortunately, DRACULE, I said that funny, DRACULE MIHAWK, Hawkeye MIHAWK. The way they have it on here is strange. Does he always have the period between the two names? I noticed it on the outer packaging too, and I just don't remember that ever being a thing. DRACULE MIHAWK, Hawkeye. Anyway, it turns out this happens to be one of my favorite characters in One Piece, and it turns out it's actually one of the better figures they've released. It's not perfect, there are definitely a few issues here and there, but it's not one of the kind of things where you just be like, oh, that's garbage, like some of the other figures in this line have been. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. I'm not happy that it costs double what it should cost, not literally, but because it's a premium Bandai release. That's just, why is he a premium Bandai release? There should be no main characters who are premium Bandai releases. Just, that's my opinion. Premium Bandai releases should be reserved for like special versions of somebody or something like that. This is just weird to me. I think the whole Premium Bandai thing needs to go, personally. I don't see any benefit other than making them more money. Especially with character choices. But this figure, like I said, pretty good. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we look at the figure, let's take a quick look at my package. Good package, he stands out nicely. Not a lot of window, as is usually the case these days. I don't know what Bandai's doing with that. Like, you could just put the product there. You don't need to show us the... I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? To me, it's kind of weird. Like, just a small photo is fine, but I want to see the figure. If you're doing a window, show the figure. If you don't want to do a window, that's fine. But to me, this serves no purpose. You can see his accessories and barely him at all. I don't get that. But yeah, the One Piece packaging is still super cool with the with the straw hat up there and the map that's not actually the map from One Piece as far as I can tell. But yeah, it's fine packaging. No problem. Still very small photos on the top and a whole lot of ugly stuff, but whatever. I don't care about packaging personally because I never look at it. So, other than in the review. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. He was in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, obviously for a premium. He's a premium Bandai release. I don't think he's available now, but I'll put a link down there just in case. If you decide you want to get one, it's probably going to be cheaper to go that route. If they happen to, like, somebody cancels an order or something, that'll probably be cheaper than going to eBay. So I'll put that down there just in case. He stands, including his hat, if he was about straight up and down, about a little over 16.5 centimeters, we could just do his head. That's close enough. Let's just say 16.2. Let's give him a little bit. Well, no, you know what? We'll say 16 centimeters to the top of his head, even though it's not all there. You get the idea. About, I don't know, 6 3/8 to the top of his head, maybe a touch under that. We're going to keep his hat on, though. And of course, you do have his hair. We'll talk about that later if you want to swap that out. Here he is up against Darwin, so pretty good size for the Figuarts line. That's fine, and he scales well enough with the other characters. I'm not going to pull them out because they're all so bad I don't have them readily available to grab, and it doesn't really matter. So, this guy. Question of the day. Do you like this character? And if not, who's your favorite character if it's not this guy, like it should be? No, I'm joking. My favorite's probably Zoro. But that's why this guy's also one of my favorites. Who's your favorite One Piece character out of any of them? You can tell me Luffy if you want to, or you can tell me Boa Hancock for any reason that you might like Boa Hancock. Anybody, you pick, but those would probably be the two most popular picks. Okay, so this guy looks surprisingly good. He has a nice finish to him. He doesn't look very plasticky. A matte finish throughout the pants and the skin tone. Kind of a satiny finish. Not quite. It's probably closer to a... It's still a matte, I guess, but a slightly more lustrous matte for the vest jacket thingy. That's nice. We have a little bit of metallic for the gold. The buckles are painted cleanly. We'll get in tighter in just a second. He's a good-looking figure. They got the overall silhouette looking pretty good. The detail work on the sleeves, sculpted and painted. That's in there. That's nice. It looks good. This seems dark, but I don't want to go brighter because I'm afraid it's going to just wash out his pale body. We'll go darker or brighter for right now. But yeah, the sleeves look really nice. They're very well done. The detail work throughout looks nice. His face, it looks exactly like it should. I have no issues there. I do wish his little floof thing on top of his hat was a little bit nicer. That seam is unsightly. And did they really need to do that like that? I mean, I get it because it's a big curvy thing with a lot of undercuts, but I don't know, figure out a different way. At least, like, maybe put the top half as one piece and then the bottom half as another to separate the curve. I don't know. I think they could have made that look a little bit nicer, but it looks good from the side, and maybe that's their goal rather than the front. Weird choice, but maybe that's what they were doing. But yeah, the details are nice. The boots are shiny. Not a lot of shading or anything going on, but I think he generally has a pretty good aesthetic. I think he looks nice. The different shade for the inside and the outside of the, I'm going to call it a cape probably throughout the review, even though it's not. It's well done. It's not like it's muddy or blurry on the edges. Yeah, I think he looks really good. He's one of the best looking figures from the line so far, and they have his shoulders actually looking like shoulders, so that helps. Yeah, it looks good. You know, it could have shading and stuff like that, especially at the premium price point, but it's a very nice release so far. So aesthetically, I will go 9 out of 10. Other than some shading, it doesn't really need much. I mean, I guess you could argue that his cut-up clothing could look a little bit nicer, but as far as action figures go, that's perfectly acceptable. I think that's fine. And he looks even better when you put his sword back here, so I wouldn't do that because I like him holding it, but you can do that. Now, as far as accessories go, you have a total of 4 faces, and they all look really nice. No problems there. You get his hedgehog, so if you don't want to wear his hat, you can put his pet hedgehog on his head. That's fine. And then you get a decent spread. I know, that's not the best joke. Whatever. You don't have to leave a comment about it. You get a decent spread of hands, and then you get a hand holding his little necklace knife, which is really nicely done. Surprisingly clean and good looking. So you can just pop his necklace off, and then you have that. So that's good. Obviously, you get his giant sword, which is like the thing for the character, and it looks really nice. I love that they used a glossy plastic for the blade. It has the right effect. It looks really, really good, and then like the gems in the hilt and everything, that looks nice. It looks really nice. I love that. And then lastly, we get a face for Zoro and a face for Luffy, and those are both equally well done. I have no complaints about this figure. I can't think of anything that's necessary. I mean, definitely could use like a giant swoosh effect or something, but that's not necessary. So I'm going to go 9 out of 10. If they include like a display stand or a swoosh, I could be persuaded to go higher, but I think that's a good spread. It's not crazy, but lots of hands, faces, you know, extra parts for other people. I don't think you need much more. Why couldn't Bandai do this sort of thing for all of the releases? Why are there only like 2 or 3 actually good releases in this line? It's weird. But yeah, good spread of accessories. Now, let's get into the articulation. First thing I'm going to do is just remove this to get it out of the way, because obviously, depending on how you move his head around, this could get in the way, and you'll probably be knocking it off as you pose the figure anyway. Alright, so let's do this. Look at that. What a beautiful sight. Double ball peg for the neck, and obviously the neck itself is on a ball peg. This won't get in the way, but I'm just going to get it out of the way in terms of being able to see stuff. Yeah, what a wonderful sight. I love seeing a double ball peg for the neck. Obviously he has a big collar on here, and it's not like it's moving really anywhere, but you can move his head around well enough. I wouldn't say it's super great, but it's fine. It's fine. The neck itself doesn't do a ton, but the top joint does a fair amount of work, and you're going to be able to hit the maximum range, I guess, other than going forward. It doesn't go forward as well, but you'll be able to hit the side pose like all the way to the collar. So if you need to, you can do that. He does look up fairly well. You have to do it more on the top than the neck itself, but given the hair and the collar, it's pretty good. I don't really have any issue with that. The neck could be a little bit better, but it's not super gappy or ugly, so whatever. Now the shoulders, unfortunately, Bandai is still struggling with shoulders out of all things. I don't really understand it, because they've released so many figures with shoulders in the past, and they're trying to what's the saying? Reshape the wheel? That's not the thing. Whatever, I don't know the saying right now. I have not been sleeping. My cat's been keeping me up all night. You don't care about that. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I don't know what the saying is, but they keep trying to, what is that saying? Redo something. They keep trying to change shoulders, and it's almost never for the better. Like it has a little bit of extra butterfly motion in there, which is fine. Like it's not bad, especially on this guy. It's not terrible, but they keep making things rotate that are ovular or oblong, and so they don't rotate very well. Let me do that for you. So it doesn't rotate very well in that opening, because it's not the same shape as the opening. I mean, I guess they're both the same shape, but they're not the shape for rotation, which would be circular. So yeah, the shoulders definitely could be better. Thankfully, his shoulders are some of the better ones in the bunch, even though they went for the quasi-Revoltech style, which they should stop doing because they don't do it well, and nobody likes those anyway, except for people who want extreme poses and not aesthetics, which is fine. That's not what these should be. These ones are an okay example, though, because they don't look goofy, and they work well enough, but certainly not as... Like, just stop overdoing it, Bandai. You're doing too much. You're doing way too much. Luckily, though, these made it out alive. They worked out okay. You get your bicep swivel, that's fine. Double jointed elbow. I mean, single jointed elbow. Not double jointed. It is not what I like. He gets just better than 90 degrees, and it's not a very good looking joint at any angle. It's not the worst, of course. We've seen way uglier joints, but it just... Why are we doing single jointed elbows? It doesn't, like, a double doesn't take up any extra space, really, so that's a little bit weird to me. And he doesn't have as much range as he could, so I don't care for that. Wrists are on a little ball hinge, that's fine. The wrist joints are tight enough. The elbows could be a little bit tighter, but they're okay. The shoulders are okay. You shouldn't have really any trouble posing his sword. It shouldn't be an issue. It's a fairly light sword, and the joints are not floppy, so that's good. Alright, I'm going to leave the video slightly bright since we're dealing with a lot of black and dark like burgundy here. So hopefully this isn't just completely washed out, but I don't know how else to do it. But this upper torso joint, you're not getting to do much with it at all. There's too much going on that you can't really grab it in anywhere to make it do anything. It all wants to work on the bottom joint, which is good enough because it has tons of range down there. You can hold it here and get a little wiggle out of it, but it's basically doing nothing because of all the junk back here for the cape. It's not a cape, I know. So his torso could be better, but thankfully that bottom joint is doing the heavy lifting and it works okay. And then obviously you do get the hinges, the joints back here, ball hinges, to let that move out. And it actually works pretty well. When it spreads out, it doesn't look too gappy, and when you close it, it's fine, and the sword that goes down here goes right through between both of those. It works nicely. It's a pretty well implemented design. The only real downside is that you can't move this upper joint too much, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, okay, now for the hips, they could be tighter. His leg joints aren't the best situation. I think we can drop this down now a little darker. He doesn't kick all the way forward. Not that he needs to, but this is a review. Decent range going back, not that far going forward. Going out to the side, almost full on splits, no nuggets. They didn't put caps in there, which is weird. That's kind of a thing Bandai's been doing lately, to have that extra piece that hides the guts in there, and they didn't do any gut hiding, which I don't mind too much. I'm not going to have him doing a lot of high kicks, but it's odd that it's not there. It would look better if it was. But the hips function well enough. They're not loose, I guess. The hips are okay. They actually seem to be tightening up, which is almost concerning. This one's not getting tighter. That one's still kind of loose. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just this one that's a little bit loose. Thigh swivel is going to thigh swivel. It's technically on a ball, which is fine. It doesn't hurt anything, but it does create a little bit extra gapping. Not going to help you too much with posability. It doesn't have a ton of range. The knees obviously look fine when they're straight. When you bend them, they're not the best knees. They're not the worst, but it's like, Bandai, again, you've been making knees for quite some time, and you've gotten a lot better at it recently. It seems like you should do better. This is not... There's way too much cutting going on for this design. You don't need that at all. And it's a glossier plastic, obviously, so it's not the best looking knee. It has decent range, but it doesn't look great. Now, the boots can rotate. There's no ball there, but they do spin around at the top of the boot, and then it's just a regular hinge. There's no ball peg down there. But this is the problem that I have with mine. The ankles are quite loose. Not floppy loose, but I'm not instilled with confidence using this guy on a shelf. I mean, obviously he'll end up on a shelf, but the ankle rocker is okay. It's better if you rotate the ankle or rotate the boot, so that's fine. You can mess around with that. And the toe hinge is not particularly good, but it's not particularly bad. We do get that big chunk, but it's well enough placed, and it's not floppy. But yeah, they've been overdoing their toe hinges for a while. Don't know why they haven't fixed that, but the loose ankles are concerning. They're not the worst loose ankles I've ever had, but they are certainly not the best. So, I don't know. His articulation, I'm not, like, thrilled. It's totally adequate. It's not going to be super problematic, but he could be a little bit better in a few places. Could be a lot worse in a few places, too. So I'm going to give his articulation a 7. It's not really noteworthy in any way. It will get the job done. All right, and now it's time for the final verdict. Maybe the most consistent release out of this whole line. Other than some loose ankles, it's really not too problematic. It looks generally good. It came with a lot of accessories, and it will pose enough. I'm pretty happy. I think they could still go in a better direction with this line without trying to do too much in too many places, but this is a perfectly adequate release. If it wasn't an overpriced PB release, I'd say it was the best figure in the line. Maybe Yamato, is that her name? Yamato, the dragon lady? I don't remember. She's not a dragon. Whatever. She's something. I don't remember. I haven't gotten to her part of the story yet. I'm only just got to Punk Hazard in the anime. Anyway, he is maybe the best figure in the line. But I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I'll give him a final verdict of, I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10. It's a really good figure, but it does cost too much. and it could be better in some places, especially at that higher price point. But I don't think anybody who owns this figure is going to be disappointed with it. I think they'll be disappointed that it costs too much, but it's a fine figure in your collection. It's not one of those figures that costs too much and is bad. It just could cost less for what you get. But yeah, it's solid. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but I'll be done there. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.